Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
Another episode of Trash Talk. I'm TJ O'Connor. With me, as always, Damian the Wolverine Hill. Trash Talk is joined tonight by the reigning 145-pound driller amateur champion, Thomas Vievring, who is getting ready to go to Iowa and take another belt. But first, the sponsors of the show, Valhalla Combat Sports Incorporated, Ink Shrinks Tattoo, Origin Wellness CBD, the Striking Institute, Spartan Martial Arts, James Clark Sports Psychology and Hypnosis Therapy, The Fighters, and my mom. Thomas, thanks for joining us tonight, man. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Man, no complaints over here. Glad to see that fights are starting to get back into action and that more guys from Minnesota and Wisconsin and Iowa and North and South Dakota are all hopping at the opportunities to get the fights. How long have you known about this one, and how did it actually get set up?
I've known about it for like a month now. So I got 4 weeks, but I've been grinding all summer. I was ready to, because I know with like the coronavirus, everything's kind of crazy. So I was like, I need to just be in shape all summer just in case there is like a short notice call or something, something was going to pop up. But I actually started talking to the promoter in Iowa because there wasn't anything going on around here. I was been asking for fights, and like I texted him and he was like, "Hey man, perfect timing. I definitely go off of God's timing because how great is this to be able to get another title shot? I care less about the belt. My last belt's sitting in my closet, collecting dust. I don't honestly. It's just I enjoy fighting and be able to go out and put on exciting fights for the fans, and then also giving God all the glory."
Yeah, man, I love it.
Yeah, and taking these opportunities, being ready, that's one of the things that I feel like was almost turned into a broken record when me and Damian would talk is, there's no fights going on, but there's guys working, there's guys ready to take these opportunities. What was the shutdown like for you? Did you have some time off to kind of relax the body, sit with the family, or was the focused on training the entire time?
Oh, I've been training. I mean, like, I always try to keep it where I'm spending time with the family and, like, setting aside that time. But I've been training, grinding all summer. I've been sparring, I was going outside with anybody and everybody that I could, when the gyms weren't open. It was like, just who wants to work? I was working with like 4 different people in a week. And honestly, I was getting more training, like, outside of the gym than I was inside of the gym, because then you get like personal training with people, which is nice. So it's like go out and spar 10 rounds real quick, and like I don't know, it actually worked out great.
Yeah, well, I definitely understand what you're talking about with you're working with somebody one-on-one and they're able to, after a sparring session or after a rolling session, be able to tell you exactly what you did wrong that entire roll
Right.
or the things that they were able to pick up on, the things that you did right. And it's all based off of you. It's not based off of 20 other people in a room. What
Right.
type of
Right.
benefits do you feel? What type of growth do you feel like you had from that type of training?
um so like over the summer, just was it was nice because I got to sit down and do like a lot of boxing, a lot of stuff with the hands, and like kind of clean up my boxing a little bit because I like to kick, and I definitely like to box, but it's just like I feel like I wasn't throwing as much hands as I would like in my fights. So it was like perfect, outside, hit the pads, get some of that boxing down for sure, and that's been great.
I love it, and that
Just
just goes to show your work ethic and how serious you're taking this. Because you talk about you haven't been able to work your boxing too much in fights, but if you look at your record, you have 4 wins in under a minute. So I mean, you're going out there, you're getting these things done. There's not a lot of time to work on your hands in the fight. So taking the small critiques you can get and building off those. I love it. And so coming into this opportunity, you said you've known about a month now. Tell us about the opponent. What type of fight are you expecting, and have you seen footage on him?
So like from what I've seen, he's actually got video out there. His name's Caleb Gall, and he's a shorter, little stockier, Iowa farm wrestling boy. It just basically, what you would expect out of Iowa for sure. He definitely is just a guy who likes to come forward, and I like to meet right in the middle. So it's definitely it's an intriguing fight to me. Like, I want to face the best in every aspect. Like, I don't want fights that are easy. I want a fight that, like, I can prove, like, hey, this is God, because I shouldn't be able to win this fight, but I can because of my God. Like, and I really do believe that.
Man, I love it. And it's one of those things, I guess TJ did touch on it, about you not being able to show off your hands yet or really test them yet. And that leaves questions for the fans a little bit, the people that aren't in the gym with you. How does your hand stand up to this Iowa fighter's striking? How does your jiu-jitsu stand up to his wrestling, if he has wrestling? But since he's from Iowa, I'm going to assume he does. All of those questions present themselves, but there's just one thing that I do know and I feel really confident in you about is your guillotine against anybody who tries to take you down. I don't know if you feel confident going against wrestlers, like more confident because you always have that in your back pocket, or if there's other reasons that make you more confident going into the fight.
So, to be honest, I've been working with Andre Sellers, and he's actually a wrestling coach, and he's been phenomenal. I mean, he's an absolute great wrestler. So it's like I've been wrestling with him a lot. I mean, yeah, I have the jiu-jitsu, and I don't necessarily rely on anything. I try to like, well, if you can't get the submission, you should be able to still get back up and get up to your feet and wrestle. So I've been grinding, I've been wrestling, I've been boxing, I've been doing everything that that you need to strengthen in order to, like, make sure you know what you're doing. And I feel like once you understand, like, the offensive too of, like, wrestling, you know what to prepare for, because you're like, well, this is what I would do at this point, or this is what I would go for. So then you can actually learn the defense pretty good, and then working all the defense. Honestly, I love it. I feel like I've been more of a wrestler than I actually thought I was. I just never really wrestled all that much. I came out and strike quite a bit in my fights, but I like wrestling. It's fun. To me, it's a blast.
Oh yeah.
Taking this time, getting this newfound, like you said, you've been working with new guys, getting new looks, and it's allowing you to develop your game and get more comfortable, and more confident with your offensive wrestling. Do you feel like, ironically, this window that kind of been forced on people, going 7 months now between fights, which I think is going to be one of your longest breaks in between fights, do you feel like that's kind of bittersweet in the end, that it sucks you weren't able to compete, go out there and do what you love, but you were able to grow so much and focus on new things?
It's one of those things where I was like, having the time off allowed me to just tighten everything up, which was great. Like, just take everything, because, like, you go out there and you have to perform. That's the thing, is people don't always perform night of the fight. They kind of, I don't know, deer in the headlights. But, like, I like to just tighten everything up, just so, like, right before the fight, you're ready and confident, and, like, I feel great. Like, honestly, I know I try to be the most well-rounded fighter. And I was just watching something Anthony Smith was talking about John Jones, and how, like, he's not the greatest at everything. He's not the greatest boxer. He's not the greatest kicker. He's not the greatest wrestler, but he does so good on able to use what he needs to beat the person. And that's what I strive for. I strive to be able to beat people in any aspect. Like, so it's not just, oh, I have to rely on this or I have to rely on that. No, I want to be able to, if I have to, I'll take you down. If I have to, I'll go for a submission. If I have to, I'll box. If I have to, I'll kick. And, like, I feel like if you want to be a world champ one day, like, that's what it takes. And it allows you to be more exciting, because you're not worried about, oh, I can't do this or that and this. No, I want to be able to do whatever I want out there.
Man, dude, I love it. It just reminds me of the way somebody tried to explain it to me before, is how, I mean, everybody compares this game to chess, but I don't necessarily need a rook or a knight or a king or a queen to take your queen. I could get it with the pawn. You know, it's like I don't
Right.
necessarily need to be better at you in boxing. I don't need to be better than you at kickboxing. I need to be better than you at I need to be better at putting you in a place where you're not better than me. And dude, it's great
Right.
to see that you have that mindset.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is like why, why sit there and strike with somebody who's comfortable to strike? Put them in a spot where they don't want to be. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's one of the biggest parts in the sport that not a lot of people do. It's like you just want to be able to, yeah, I may not be the most comfortable in there, but I know they're way less comfortable than me in that spot. So
Yeah.
I try to, like I said, you train it all. You should be training it all and doing it. And then like, it's good to like, I feel like it is good to train every like sport by itself, but for me, I feel like it's really huge to train for MMA in general. Like
Yeah.
you should be able to do it all. It should be I should be able to go for a takedown, get back up, defend the takedown, go for submissions, strike, punch, kick, like you
Yep.
want to be able to like put it together because MMA is its own sport, like I really do believe that it all like goes together so differently.
Yeah. No, you're definitely right about that. Now, with that being said, what type of a fight are you looking to put on, and what type of a fight do you expect from your opponent?
I know he's gonna come out and put out an exciting fight, which is like he likes to come out and he likes to either strike or he'll go for the takedown and like he puts on exciting fights. And that's what like as soon as they sent me a video, or sent me like his name and I looked him up, I was like, yes. Like I
Yeah.
appreciate somebody who's gonna come out and actually put on a fight with me. Like I don't want a fight where it's just like, oh, I'm gonna take you down, hug you on the ground. I mean, who knows what their game plan is, but it's like I want exciting fights for the fans. I don't care win or lose. To me, it's just like it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, God is good, and like my life, it's great. I got two beautiful children and a beautiful fiance that are just on my side every day, and he put good people in my corners, man. Like I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? So like when I go out there, there's no like, oh, what if I lose? I don't care if I lose. I just want to put on an exciting fight. I'm more worried about not putting on an exciting fight than losing
Yeah.
at that point.
And see, I love that because that's one of the things, and we've talked about it. That's one of the biggest things that hold people back. You mentioned it earlier. Sometimes on fight night, guys see the deer in the headlights and they freeze up.
Right.
But like talking to you and knowing you for the last year plus, I generally when you say that, it makes me happy because I know where you're coming from when you say that. There's a lot of guys, you'll hear them say, oh, well, if I lose, I lose. And, you kind of get the idea. It's like, well, maybe he doesn't really want it. But when I talk to you, you generally just want the love of the competition. And I feel like that's what shows
Right.
it. Like when the bell rings, you cross the cage and you're throwing crazy punches and grabbing necks and ripping them off. And it happens so it's the confidence that comes with that. So, I mean, I'm excited for this fight. I'm not going to pretend that I know a lot about your opponent because I don't, but taking your word for it, this is going to be a crazy fight. Before we get into the process of wrapping this up, because I know you're busy tonight and I appreciate you taking the time, tell the fans first and foremost how they can watch this fight taking place for Caged Aggression. I know they're doing another one of their 2-show weekends. So which date are you fighting and how do they see this fight?
So we will be fighting on October 17th on Saturday, and you can go to www.cagedaggression.tv, and you can order the pay-per-view watching it then, and then basically
Select
I'm
your
just
name and make sure you get the cut of that pay-per-view money, right? Throw that in
right.
there.
Yeah, you definitely get a cut of the pay-per-view money. Like I said, I don't really care too much about that. I just want the intriguing fight. As soon as I see an exciting fight, I'm like, yes. Like that's an opportunity to go out and perform, and to, like I said, give God all the glory. But I gotta definitely thank like all my all the work that Andre Sellers has been putting into me, because like I said, I've never had somebody actually put like the effort into me. Not being selfish about anything. Like he was, he's absolutely wonderful coach. He was definitely just right by my side the whole time, as much as my family. My fiance is constantly cooking me meals, things that are helping watching the kids so I can go train for 3 hours. It's like it's not an easy job. So like when I get out there, you can expect fireworks because I know that I have to go home to my family. I know I'm missing time away from my family in order to do this. So I'm not going to go out there like thinking, oh, I I don't necessarily care if I win or lose, but I definitely am going to try hard, my hardest to go
Yeah.
out there and to do well.
Hell yeah, dude. I mean, you thanked a few people already, but before we do wrap this up, anybody else you'd like to thank? Any sponsors or teammates? Anybody?
So, Andre Sellers has been a huge help, and then Antez Howard he's always been a great friend of mine. He's he's been there through thick and thin. He's definitely somebody that I've always relied to train with. He's a good kid. He's a grinder, man. He's
Yeah.
never not at the gym. He's always doing something. And so like I appreciate like people around me. I was sparring with also Blake Moreland all summer. He was a lot of outside stuff. I haven't done much with him lately, but like the outside, he was all summer. He was always twice a week we were sparring. And then even some of my old opponents, like Jimmy Padilla, it was somebody that was my last loss, and we've been sparring. We sparred a few times and did some hand pads and stuff. And like I said, I strive to be like the best I can be, but like at the end of the day, you can't necessarily control things. So I give it to my God, and Jesus Christ is everything, man. For me, I already have the confidence in the world because I just put it in Him, and I don't have to worry about the rest.
Man, that's fucking beautiful. Oh man. So but people watching this video, please make sure you go to cageaggression.com, select that pay-per-view, select Thomas Vievring, make sure he gets a cut of that money, make sure he goes to a fighter. Even if you're not watching for a specific guy, click a random name, let the fighters get their money. Like this video, subscribe to Trash Talk with Damien and TJ. Don't be a hoe.